Good day, everybody. I hope that you are well, and I also hope that you are having a good day so far. Today we'll be doing today we'll be doing our grade kindergarten to grade 2 English lesson on irregular past tense. And before we start, we're going to log on to aplusstudents.ca. Once you've logged on to aplusstudents.ca with our username as well as our password, and then we're going to select the subject of English Language Arts. We're doing kindergarten to grade 2, and then we're going to scroll down up until we get to our chapter of irregular past tense. All right, and when it comes to irregular past tense, right, we said our chapter is irregular past tense. Our subject is English Language Arts. We're doing grade kindergarten to 2. And the lessons that we are going to be focusing on under the chapter of irregular past tense, it is to identify the irregular past, which is in group 1. I think it's the irregular past tense. And then also to identify the irregular past tense, basically group 2, which we are going to continue. All right. And when it comes to our irregular past tense, right? So, firstly, with irregular past tense, we also have regular past tense, right? And a regular past tense, it basically tells us that, for example, there's a rule that we need to follow. And the rule that we need to follow is that our verb, it ends with an ed, right? And if we look at an example of a verb that ends with an ed, and then if we look at an example like maybe jump, right? So we can maybe say, I jump, like you're jumping now. But in the past tense, I jumped, right? So we added an ed to show the irregular past tense within our sentence. So jumped, that is the regular past tense. So words like jump, stayed, Words like walked, talked, or watched, right? These are all regular past tense. And when we say regular past tense, then it follows a specific rule. And with the rule that it follows, we can say that you either add a D or you add an ED to a regular past tense, right? And that will basically show the tense. All right. So now we have our irregular past tense. And irregular past tense, right? They do not follow any rules. So irregular past tense don't follow any rules. You're just gonna have to remember it as, for example, the specific verbs. You're gonna have to know it. So, like we said, with regular past tense, we, for example, add D, or we add an ed to show the past tense form of the verb, whereas with irregular past tense, we do not follow any specific rules. You are just either going to have to know what the past tense form is of the irregular past tense. All right. If we look at an example, right, or few examples of our irregular past tense, right? Then we, for example, say Louis did his homework. So here we have the word did, right? And did is the past tense of do. So it's like I do my homework now, but in the past I did my homework, right? Or Louis do his homework now. In the past, Louis did his homework. So this is like the present tense and did is in the past tense. And as you, if you look at these two words, right, can you see how the wording changes? So that is why we say that irregular past tense, they don't follow any rules. You're just gonna have to remember the past tense form of that specific verb, right? It's the same as saying think. Think is something that we're doing now, right? I'm thinking about the answer, I'm thinking about what to say to you, I'm thinking about my response. But in the past, if we want to look at the past tense form of the word think, then the past tense form of the word think is thought. And as you can see how the wording changes, so we cannot say, okay, add an OUGHT to the word. And we cannot say that because the words changes all the time, right? That is why, once again, you are going to just have to remember the past tense form of that verb when it comes to the irregular past tense, right? All right. Can you think of any more irregular past tense verbs before I give a few of my ones that I know of? Irregular past tense. A few examples. All right. And if we look at a few irregular past tense, right? Examples. If we look at a few examples, right? Let's say, look at the word year. So I'm going to write down a few examples of past tense, and then you are going to try and figure out. Well, I'm going to write down a few words, and you're going to try and figure out what the past tense form is of that word, right? So, firstly, we have drink, right? What is the past tense of drink? I drink a glass of Coke now. Yesterday, I what a glass of Coke. And if we were to look at the past tense form of the word drink, then it is drank, right? What is the past tense of this word? I'm going to write in a few words, and then we are going to try and find the past tense of those words. We have year, catch, feed, ride. I know, to ring a bell, write a letter, and lastly, we can say pay. What is the past tense of these words that I have on the screen? We have year, catch, feed, ride, know, ring, write, and pay. We need to find the past tense forms of those words. All right, and if we were to find the past tense form of certain words, then we can say, yeah, the past tense form of the word yeah is I heard you, right? To catch something, you catch something now. And we can say in the past, I caught a big fish. You're feeding somebody over now. Somebody now, sorry. And then in the past, we can say fed, ride, rode. No. What is the past tense of no? And the past tense of no is I knew it. Ring. The past tense of ring is rang, wrote, and paid. So that is but a few of our irregular past tense, right? And once again, we said when it comes to our past tense, then you are just going to have to know the past tense, right? There's no rule that you need to follow. You're just going to have to remember the form. All right, so now we're going to aplusstudents.ca and we are going to go over once again irregular past tense. We're going to identify the irregular past tense and also see how we can use it within a sentence. All right. So we're going to identify the irregular past tense. And we said most verbs are regular in the past tense, and that means that you follow rules like adding a D or ED. But then we have irregular past tense, which you are busy with now, and they do not follow any rules. You're just going to have to remember the past tense of the verb. All right, so now we're going to try and find we're going to find the past tense of the word in bold. It says, I run to the park. I run to the park. What is the past tense of run? We need to identify the past tense of run. The past tense of run. All right, then if we were to find out what the past tense of run is, then we can say I ran. So I ran to the park. In the past, I ran to the park. So ran is correct. Well done. All right, I find string in my pocket. I find string in my pocket. We need to find the past tense of the word find. So which sentence is in the past tense? That word find. We need to find the past tense of the word find. All right, and if we were to find the past tense of the word find, and then the past tense of the word find is I found string in my pocket. So found is our past tense word of find. I found it in my pocket. All right, then let's do the last one before we go to our test. It says, the teacher gives me paper. The teacher gives me paper. We need to find the past tense of the word give. Gives. So gives. What is the past tense of gives? All right. So if we were to identify the past tense of gives, and then we would say the past tense of gives is gave. Right? The teacher gives me paper. The teacher gave me paper. Right? And that is our irregular past tense of the word gives. Well done. Now we're going to our test where we're going to identify the irregular past tense. We need to say which sentence is in the past tense. Do we say Mandy found pennies on the ground, or Mandy finds pennies on the ground? We need to select the correct option, option 1 or option 2, that is the irregular past tense. So option 1 or option 2, that is our irregular past tense. All right, and if we were to identify our irregular past tense, then we will choose option 1. It says Mandy found pennies on the ground. Right, so found, because remember I find something now. Right, and remember, when the only reason why there's an S for finds is because it means, remember we said that if we have a singular in one of our previous lessons, when we have a singular noun and then we need to have a singular verb, and singular verbs ends with an S. So Mandy finds pennies, but in the past we say Mandy found pennies on the ground. So found is the past tense of find, right? All right, now we're going to the next one. It says, which sentence is in the past tense? Is it option 1, the girls got ready to go? Or option 2, the girls get ready to go? So the got ready or the get ready? Which one is which option? Got or get? Option 1 or option 2 is our irregular past tense. All right, and if we are going to select the correct option, and then we're going to say option one because the girls get ready now, but in the past they got ready to go. So got is in the past tense, which means that got is the past tense of get. Which sentence is in the past tense? Is it option one? In the barn, we heard owls. Yes, got is correct. Well done. Got is correct. All right, now we say in the barn, we heard owls, right? Or do we say in the barn, we hear owls? We need to select or identify the irregular past tense within that sentence. Is it we heard owls or is it we hear owls? We need to choose the correct one. All right, and if we choose the correct option, we can say in the barn in the past. We can say, yes, we heard owls. Because remember, you hear owls now. You hear things now. You hear me talking to you now, right? That is what you hear now. But earlier on in the past, or last week or last month, you heard, right? You heard owls. So heard is correct. Yes, heard is the irregular past tense of year. No. So we don't say yeared, we say heard. That is why heard is just an irregular past tense. It is not a regular past tense. Because heard it doesn't end with an ed, right? So heard is an irregular past tense. It is not a regular past tense. Regular past tense are just words that if you automatically just say it in the past tense, then it's where we add a D or ED to it. But with heard, it's not like that. Heard already has, for example, it's like just year with a D, right? All right. We need to say which is in the past tense. The birds flew above the river, or the birds fly above the river. Which one is correct? Flew or fly? All right, and if we choose the correct option, flew is actually correct. So flew is the past tense of fly. I know it doesn't sound right. Remember, when it comes to English, a lot of words don't sound right, right? Because that is why usually with regular past tense, the word will still sound the same, right? It's just that we are adding that D to it, right? Like jump and jumped, right? Watch and watched. But when it comes to the irregular past tense, it's like the wording changes. That is why we said that there's no rule that we follow. You're just gonna have to remember the form of the word, because it's like the words also changes, right? So like fly, flew, hear, heard, ride, rode, right? So you see the words changes like that. So even fly and flew doesn't sound the same, because flew is basically, if you look at the multiple meaning words, flew and flew, the flu that you have. Like currently, I have the flu because I'm ill, right? So flu and flu, and that is a multiple meaning word where it is two words that sounds the same, but the meaning of those words are different. All right. So the correct word or the past tense word of fly is flew. All right. So well done. Flew is correct. All right. What is the past tense of the word sing? Or should we say which sentence is in the past tense? Do we say the birds sang in the daytime or the birds sing in the daytime? Which one is correct? The birds sang in the daytime or the birds sing in the daytime? Sang or sing? All right. If we look at the past tense of the word sing, remember, sing is something that you're doing now. You're singing in the choir. But in the past, I sang in the choir. The birds sang in the daytime. And now it's nighttime. The birds go sleep. All right. And if we look at the identifying the past tense, right, also in group two, remember we said that with our regular past tense, we just add a D or an ED to form our regular past tense. But with irregular past tense, you're just going to have to remember the past tense form of the verb, right? Let's do one or two, and then we're going on to our test. It says the kittens grow larger. Grow larger. What is the past tense of the word grow? What is the past tense of the word grow? The kittens grow larger. The past tense of the word grow. And the past tense of the word grow is the kittens grew larger. You see, this grow is similar to flew, grew, flew, grow, and flew. So it's like you say, it also doesn't sound correct. It doesn't sound right, but it is right. So grow and grew. All right, let's look at the last one and then we're going to our test. It says, I know the way to school. I know the way to school. What is our irregular past tense of the word know? I know the way to school. Know. And if we look at the past tense of that word know, the past tense of the word know is knew. I knew the way to school. Knew, right? All right, so now we're going to our test where we are going to identify the irregular past tense. We need to say which sentence is in the past tense. So we need to identify the sentence that's in the past tense. It says Ben throws rocks into the pond, or Ben threw rocks into the pond. So option one, Ben throws rocks into the pond, or option two, he threw rocks into the pond. So which option is correct? Been through or been throw rocks into the pond? And if we look at the correct word, we say been through rocks into the pond. Option 2. All right. After breakfast, I leave my house. Or after breakfast, I left my house. Which one is correct? After breakfast, I leave my house. Or after breakfast, I left my house. Almost done. After breakfast, I leave my house. Or after breakfast, I left my house. Which one is correct? All right, and if we were to choose the correct one, we would say after breakfast, I left my house. So left is our regular past tense. All right, so this is now the end of our lesson on irregular past tense. We said irregular past tense are words that, for example, you don't follow any rules. So, which means that if we were to identify a word that is that is irregular in the past tense, right? Then we don't follow rules like add an ed or d. You're just gonna have to remember the different forms of that irregular past tense, right? And we made a few examples of words like hear or heard, fly or flew, grow or grew. So well done. This is now the end of our lesson on irregular past tense. Thank you very much, grade twos, for joining the class. And I really hope that you're going to have a good weekend further. Bye. Have a good weekend.